Hey everyone, it's Steve from the garden. In this video, I need to get something going in my onion bed and my garlic bed. Both those beds have been harvested now, so it's time to get something else planted in them so we have photosynthesis going on all the time. I have the last few onions I pulled on this bed. They were kind of out in the sun drying out. So this is that one real monster onion that was still going. So later on in a different video, I'll weigh this out and see how much we got and which onion was the actual largest. For the onion that went to seed, you can see this is one of the seed heads. Now each of these little pods here has multiple seeds in it. I opened up one the other day and it had about 6 seeds in there. For the onion that went to seed, you can see it subdivided itself and grew into new little onions. Kind of the way like garlic does. Next up, I need to get this bed cleaned up as far as the weeds that are growing in here. Now it's not too bad. You know, I did kind of go through and clean it up like a week or so ago. But I'm going to use a stirrup hoe to go and knock down all these little weeds so that we can plant the next thing. With that drip tape out of the way, now I can just kind of lightly cultivate the surface and knock down all the little weeds that start growing up in here. With the weeding done, I'm going to just use the back of the hard rake to kind of smooth this over and redistribute the soil and level it out. Now also, we'll kind of bring some of those weeds up to the surface and then I can just pick them off at the end. I have the bed raked out and smoothed out. And I got most of these little weeds on here. So now I'm going to just take my hoe and create like a little furrow next to the drip tape on each side. With the furrows in place, I can now go to the actual planting. So what I'm going to plant in this bed is a cover crop of buckwheat. This is what the buckwheat seed looks like. And I'm just going to generously put it in each row. Now some of it will scatter all over the place and that's fine. In previous years I just kind of like broadcast put this in. But since I have the drip tape now, I'm going to just put it in furrows next to the drip tape. The seed in place and I can just cover it back up. And we'll kind of tap it down. With the seeds in place and the bed ready to go, I'm turning on the drip irrigation to kind of get those seeds germinated. And we'll move on to the garlic bed. Now that we're moving on to the garlic bed, it's afternoon time and it's really hot outside, so I'm going to do some work indoors as I get prepared. So what I'm planting in the place of the garlic is carrots. And I'm going to try something new this year based on something that Brian Siebert does. And as I'm going to create a carrot tape. So I'm going to show you how I'm going to do that. Thank you, Brian, for that suggestion. The idea behind it is that you'll be able to kind of set up the carrot tape ahead of time, get perfect spacing on your carrot seeds so you don't have to thin later on. What I'm going to need for doing this is I'm going to use some toilet paper. I mixed together some flour and water. I have a dish of just plain water, a little popsicle stick, and some toothpicks. And of course my carrot seeds. So I'm going to do 4 varieties of carrots, and that I'm going to do the gold nugget, which is the yellow variety. Now we really like these. We have Bolero, which is a blunt tip orange variety. We got Danvers 126. Now these are an orange carrot. And we got some Scarlet Nantes, which are also orange. So to get started, I'm just going to take a piece of toilet paper. I'm going to fold it in half to create a crease. Oops, that wasn't a very good crease there. Now that I have a crease, that just gives me an idea where the center is at. So I'm just going to take my little popsicle stick, put a little dab, and space these out, I don't know, 1.5 inches or so apart. And just kind of put a little dab of the flour and water mix on there. This will kind of act as like a little glue to hold the carrot seeds. And by doing this, I'll get really good spacing for the carrots and not have to thin them. At least that's the idea. And because this is just organic materials, it'll break down very fast. And toilet paper itself is made to break down in water or once it gets wet. So even though it's a little bit fibrous, It'll break down very quickly once it's in the ground. Since I got my little dabs of flour and water in place, I'm just going to use the flat part of the toothpick. Get that wet. Reach down, grab a seed, and put it on the glue. And I'll do that for each spot here until I fill up each dab. Here's a little close-up view to show what I'm doing. So I just put that seed on the end and pop it down in. By having just a little bit of moisture on the end of the toothpick, it makes it easy to pick up the seeds. The first variety I'm planting is the Gold Nugget. Now these are the yellow carrots, and these are the ones we enjoy the most. So I'm going to plant the most of these. So we're looking at doing like 2 rows of this, and then orange carrots, and then I'll do 1 full row of the bowler row. So now that I got the seeds in place, I'm just going to fold the toilet paper back over along where the crease is at, spread it out, and that'll hold all the seeds in place. Then I can dig a furrow outside and just stick this whole thing in. Now that it's early evening time, I'm going to finish up the onion bed by putting some nearly finished compost over top, and this will act as a mulch to help hold in the moisture and provide a little bit of nutrients. And I just used the back of the hard rake to kind of level that off and spread it around for even cover. For the garlic bed, I'm going to start by just disconnecting the drip irrigation because I'm going to remove this wood mulch. I will also cut away a few of these zucchini leaves on here just so they're not shading the bed. With the drip tape out of the way, I'm just going to use the hard rake, kind of rake back the wood chip mulch, and that will expose the underlying soil and make it easier for me to actually get the carrots in here. Now the wood chips, I am going to hold on to these because I will reuse them in the fall when I go to plant the next round of garlic. Next, I'm just going to go ahead and remove these weeds. There's not like a lot of weeds, and really there's not weeds here in the center where it's heavily mulched. So it's really just these weeds that are along the edge where the mulch is thinner. Since I'm going to be planting carrots in this location, I'm just going to use my fork to make sure that the soil underneath is loose. Not really turning it, just making sure it goes down and kind of breaks up that subsoil a little bit. Last thing you want is carrots going into any kind of a hard soil. Yep, like I hit something there. It feels like a rock. I'll have to dig that one out. With the soil loosened up, I'm just going to spread a combination of Nature Safe 835 and some balanced organic fertilizer. And once I kind of get this spread out, I will go over it with the hard rake to kind of smooth this out. And then I will top it with a nice loose layer of compost. And that will be my actual seeding medium. Okay, I'll just kind of work that in. Now for the fine compost. You can see there's a few chunky things in here. I'll take them out. My main thing is that this stuff is really nice and loose, so it should do well planting the carrots into it. Just gonna kind of level this off a little bit. With the drip tape back in place, I'm just gonna create a furrow right next to the drip tape. You're just using a hand trowel so that we can place our carrot tape in there. I'll just kind of go between these two, a little bit closer to the center one in this case. This furrow here should get plenty of coverage from both the outside and the center. With the furrow in place, I'm just going to lay my carrot tape in. I'm going to kind of angle it so that the side that opens will be facing up. That way, any seeds that emerge should have a chance to get going first, and the stuff underneath should break down very quickly. I should say that the closed end, facing down, should break down very quickly. All the carrot tape is now in place. I just need to cover it with the thin layer of that mostly finished compost to act as mulch. Here we are. The mulch is all in place. The drip irrigation will run automatically tomorrow morning to help get those seeds germinated. In the meantime, the moisture that's already in the bed should already start breaking down that toilet paper. With the seeds all in place, we'll find out over the next week or so how well the germination went. Now, buckwheat grows very fast. In about 30 days or so, it's ready to be cut down and incorporated back into the soil. Carrots typically take a little longer. They can take up to 14 days to even germinate. So finding out how we did on germination for the carrots will take a little longer. Well, that's it for this video. If you have any questions, go ahead and leave a comment down below, and I'll do my best to answer them. Until then, I hope you enjoyed, got something out of this, and we'll see you on the next one.